excuse me, the escondita of lithium, as it's been called now from several points of view, from China, etc. They're very interested in this project, as you could believe. It's the usual disclaimers, more of them. And why should we be looking at lithium? As you've seen, the market is quite depressed at the moment, but prices are down, but we're expecting all of that to turn around. I think you'll see over the next 24 months that prices will come back up, and that's why VW are out there looking at lithium sources, as most of the other car manufacturers are as well. The Chinese Ministry of Lands and Resources are very interested, as I've said, in the project. They were the ones who came out and dubbed this the escondita of lithium. It is a massive resource. The company overview itself, ASX listed, share price struggling at 4 cents at the moment, 2.3 billion shares on issue, market cap of around about $90 million, which is not too bad considering. Cash at bank, $12 million after our recent capital raising, which will take us through to the final decision to mine. Debt, nil. Average trading is quite a pronounced amount, $1.8 million of value traded every day over the last 12 months, so we are a highly traded stock. Key shareholders, we have Huayou Cobalt. They are a 9.3% shareholder. They own 3 operations in the DRC, 2 cobalt mines and a further one that they're bringing into production. We have Management and Associates sitting in there at about 8.3%. Lithium Plus, a new entity that came to the table with the last round of shareholder capital raising. And the top 20 hold around about 31% of the company. Excuse me. The investment case for us is quite simple. We are emerging as one of the largest lithium producers in the world. We will be taking this into production. We've got a initial test work, metallurgical test work of the project, which has shown us that we can produce a good quality lithium concentrate. We haven't done the next stage of going to putting that into lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide test work. That's going to be taken up fairly soon. Scoping study, we completed a 2 million tonne scoping study recently. That's shown some fairly heavy economics for us. On about a $160 million capex, we can produce a sizable deposit, a sizable profit for the company. Internal rate of return are over 90%, and a net present value of 10% of around about 1.8 billion. Obviously those figures will change with current pricing, they've come down, but still a considerably good deposit to be putting into production. Currently the resources sit at 400 million tonnes of measured, indicated and inferred at 1.66. We put out an announcement this morning. We've had an update on that, so we're now sitting with 269 million tonnes at 1.65 in the measured and indicated categories. We are expecting to have that upgraded again once we've dewatered the pit and we've put some drill holes into the base of the pit, because there's a little wedge that we can't access at the moment, and that's where the remainder of our inferred resources are sitting. We also have a little bit further up the track from the main prospect, Carrier Lest, where we've made some announcements recently. Exceptional grades at surface there, running up to 4% lithium oxide, 90 metres at 2% in drill holes, 150, 200 metre intercepts at 1.5%. It's the same size as Roche d'Or, if not better, so another 400-500 million tonnes easily there. Board of management, myself, geologist, Graham, geologist, Rep Brands, mining engineer, all with substantial experience in the business, having taken projects from exploration stage right the way through to development stage. Rep Brand has been involved in, more recently, in Sierra Resources in putting their graphite project into production with the plant there in Mozambique. Hong Liang Cheng is director for the nominees for Huayou Cobalt. Peter Hulich, a new director that's just come on board recently, a solicitor by trade, and he has some really good experience in the DRC, East Africa, and with corporate finance in the UK. Last but not least is Serge Ngandu. Serge is a metallurgist. He's a Congolese national. Congolese national, and he's worked in the DRC for some of the big players there, including the state-owned enterprise Gécamines. He is going to be invaluable with his contacts at high level when we need to go to government for the likes of mining permits, negotiations with the government for tax exemptions, etc. Very capable man. AVZ is exposed to the lithium price, as you can imagine. We've drawn a comparison here between the carbonate price in blue dots and our share price, which is a sad state of affairs. Obviously there was a lot of hype a year and a half ago. We believe the deposit is worth more than that. We think it's going to go back up, so we're cracking on with the work that needs to be completed on site. The Monono project was originally a tin and tantalum mine, mainly a tin mine, discovered in 1910, developed through to about 1982. They took all the soft rock out to start off with, put it through 2 wash plants, produced a high quality concentrate, then upgraded that into a metal and shipped the metal out from site. So it has been a producing operating mine, substantial, 150, 160 million tonnes of material has been moved. And then obviously they started to look at the hard rock scenario. They put in about 42 drill holes at Roche d'Or, drilled out a resource and started mining that. Hard rock, harder to blast. It was a drill and blast operation. Much more costly to bring the ore out, and tin prices fell, so the whole thing fell into disrepair at late 1982, I think it was. We picked the licenses up in December of 2016, completed an initial drilling phase of 7 drill holes, I should say, 6 in Roche d'Or and 1 up in the north. And from that we made the decision to invest in the company and go forward with the project. We have drilled 27,000 metres plus of diamond core. It's all diamond core that we've been utilising, and it's all been drilled in mainly the Kititolo sector of Roche d'Or, in the southern sector down here, and a couple of drill holes, about 6 drill holes in the north at this, the next big whale that sort of looks there. It's a massive deposit there as well, Carrier Blessed. The key outcomes of our scoping study, which is the base case of 2 million tonne throughput, 440,000 tonnes of concentrate produced. Our recovery grades on that were excellent, of over 80%, but the key cash figures, 1.79 billion US is the NPV, estimated IRR of about 93%, and a 3-year payback based on prices that were higher than what they are at the moment, so they will probably flow out a little bit more. 20-year mine life is all we modelled, and as I said, 440,000 tonnes of concentrate to be shipped down. We believe that can be tweaked further. We believe the recoveries on that can be better. It was obviously bench scale test work, so we're expecting that to be optimised down the track. CapEx estimated at about $150, $160 million, including $35 million worth of contingency, given the scale of the scoping study. Shipping to Dar es Salaam, we were looking at $297 a tonne, FOB Dar es Salaam, so another $20, $30 would get you to China mainland. Very low strip ratio, as I said, this comes to surface. We are in an historical mining point, so we will be taking it straight from surface. So 0.7 to 1, we believe we can actually bring that down when we get the final pit shells organised. High feed grade of greater than 1.58%, we're up around about 1.65, so we'll be doing that up as well. Low level of deleterious materials within this pegmatite, so we're looking at phosphorus and fluorine and iron, all very low, 0.4 for the iron on the concentrate, which we do believe we can get down further as well. That's going to be optimised, so we will be having a very high quality product as well. All of our costings were done on an SC of 5.8%. That's what the recovery came from the 2 samples we used. We will be supplementing that with an additional 13 tonne of material, which has just arrived in Perth over the weekend just past. We'll be putting that through NAGROM to do complete test work on it, comminution, hardness, etc. And also taking some of the product, the concentrate, to be put through for lithium carbonate and hydroxide test work, so we'll have more results over the next 4 to 5 months. If we go to the 5 million tonne scoping study, which is being completed at the moment on the back of the new resources and also the transport study that is completed, we would produce in the order of 1.1 million tonnes of concentrate, and we would be looking to also optimise the recovery of tin and tantalum. There's 300,000 tonnes of tin sitting in this resource as well, so it's a sizable value, dollar value in the ground, but we believe we can get some of that out, at least 50%, 60%, maybe more. So we'll be optimising that through the work as well. Rochdale Resource, as I've said, we've put out a release this morning. These numbers are a little bit outdated. We weren't sure whether we were going to get that document approved on the exchange platform. But just at the bottom there, the table is showing 93.5, and it's now 107, and 96.3 indicated, it's 153, I think it is. So total is still the same at 400 million tonnes. So grade has dropped down a little bit, but we're comfortable with that. We've also optimised the tin, so we do have an independent resource on that as well, and that's been split into a high grade and a low grade zone. The main body itself, you can see, is here underneath in the blue line, which is covered a bit by the pit shells, or the resource, is the historical pit. So the outline of the pegmatite in pink and indicated in blue, this is the old resource. That will be updated on the next resource press release as well. Tin upside yet to be included. As I said, we have 300,000 tonnes of tin and about 14,000 tonnes of tantalum within this. And using a DMS plant for the concentrate production, we should be able to recover that material as well. So we'll add that to the bottom line. Very high resource quality. Obviously the grade is great. We're sitting at 1.65%. We've got this project up the road, 5 kilometres from Rochdale, as part of our package, which is Carrier to Lest. It's running 2% for 60, 70, 80 and 90 metres at surface, down to about 150 metres, so that might provide some high-grade feed for the concentrator. Purity is the main thing there. We don't have any mica to talk of, a very small amount. Fluorine's running at 0.1%, phosphorus at 0.3%, and the iron oxide at 0.4%. And again, we think there may have been some contamination of that during the processes, so not the drilling process, but actually the lab test work, so we might be able to reduce that further. The escondita of lithium, I'm not comfortable with it, but it is a big behemoth. It's a massive deposit. If you look at the entire strike length of over 10.5, 12 kilometres, and if you wanted to drill it out from here until the centre of the Earth, 500 metres deep, you'd be looking at well over 1.5 billion tonnes. We've concentrated on the area, thanks to a consultant previously who directed us in that manner to say, this is the best area to start with, you've got the most information, it's the cleanest deposit there, the pegmatite, so that's why we started at Rochdale. That's not to say that the top, we can go on spot there. The top of these pegmatites as well, the top 25, 30 metres of these pegmatites, which are open pits at the moment, they're flooded, but they could provide easily accessed source material for the plant as well. Carrier to Lest, I've made a little bit about this. This is the one further to the north. There's just a couple of sections that show what we've got from there. 1 metre at 4.65% lithium is incredible, but we're getting an average of 2%, 89 metres at 2%. Exploration target on that one now is 400 to 600 million tonnes. Not that we need the extra tonnes, but we're looking for the high grade material. The big question on everyone's lips, transporting our product out. We've had a transport study completed recently. It's being incorporated into the 5 million tonne scoping study that should be coming out soon. So there's several routes to take product out. We're investigating the simplest, fastest, most direct would be to Dar es Salaam, which would mean trucking our ore to Lake Tanganyika, shipping it across that lake, which there is a railway system there from Kigoma to Kalemi, or Kalemi to Kigoma, left to right, and then on the railway down to Dar es Salaam. TRC Railways is not in very good shape. It only has limited rolling stock. So we've investigated going down to the Tazara Railway, which is this one down here. And to do that, we are looking at trucking the ore from Manono through Pianamwanga and south to Nsaluka in Zambia, and then from there onto the train and through. Our fallback position is that we will be able to get ore on the new road that's being constructed, or an old road that's being refurbished, $285 million being put into it, from Manono back down to Lekasi, and then there's a tarmac road from there. So we can get it to Lubumbashi on the back of a truck, through, and then onto a train from there. We can go out to the same route, we can go out to Dar es Salaam. Port, obviously that's just been refurbished. There's been a big refurbishment of Dar es Salaam. We like it, primarily because it is extended. We've been offered some acreage there to store product, etc. So it's quite interesting to investigate that further. We will also be investigating going west through Angola. There was I think about 5,000 tonnes of material, manganese, sent out on that railway line not so long ago, 3 months I think it was. So that line is actually operational, it's just a case of rolling stock. There are several companies willing to invest in the rolling stock and the railway lines in Tanzania. They're just waiting for someone to come along and offer them a contract to ship products so they can make some money. I think it's the same on that. Big players committed to the DRC in RAPS. Essentially, we've got large players in country. We've got the likes of the Ivanhoe Group, Robert Friedland's group. There's a lot of money going in there, several $100 million being pushed into it. And then Barrick's all in there with obviously the gold project in the north. So there are companies that can do this. Obviously bigger players, but there are companies that can do it. So I'm not deterred by getting in here and making this happen. Rush door competitors, there's a forward plan. I think we can probably finish up on this one. This is the plan moving forward. It shows that we have met test work study underway. We were expecting that core to have arrived earlier. That'll take about 4 months to complete, so we've added some extra time. The feasibility study, we're pushing that out to Q2 now, Q1 definitely, but Q2 for a little bit of extra slide time if required. Transport route, that's going to have several consultants pushed onto that to make sure that happens. We're engaging a project engineer manager to run the whole scenario, detailed engineering, etc. to run after that, and then we go. By AVZ, it's linked to the lithium price. It's going to happen. We can only see an upside on this. We need to get our transport sorted, but I think we're on track to get that done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. RD Resources is a multi